All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. You know me, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Elvis.
And today we have brought out the last two naturally aspirated manual M cars. These two specific ones are manual.
Yeah, and it blows my mind that you can still pick this up for relatively affordable prices compared to what other M cars are.
Everybody told me years ago, these are gonna shoot up in value, they're gonna be unobtainable, but you can still get them, like Elvis said, for a relatively affordable price.
Mind-blowing. And so this has a naturally aspirated V10.
And, of course, a very high-revving, naturally aspirated V8.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just go for a drive.
It's gonna be so fun.
Let's drive. All right, Elvis, E92
Yes.
versus M5.
Oh.
A lot of people are anti-turbo. I'm not anti-turbo, but it's always nice to rev out a car.
Yes.
8,400 RPM stock. Well, and the
insane.
M3 lineup is cool because 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, 6-cylinder, like there's no specific recipe for the M3.
I just feel like it's been 6 cylinders for a while.
A long time.
A long time. And
Yeah.
so when this came out, it was like, oh my gosh, V8. And traditionally, you had always seen the V8s with the M5s,
Of
which you
course.
see here.
Initially, looks-wise, because this is a contentious subject,
Yeah.
which are you drawn to?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I love the coupe, the body lines of this, how slopey it is. I would honestly say this one just because it's smaller,
100%.
it's more compact.
In general, though, I mean, the E92 M3 looks way better to me.
Yes, I think so. The M5 does not look bad though.
I don't think it looks bad. It just hasn't aged very well. It's very mid-2000s. Of course, the E92, it helps with having the hood bulge.
Hood bulge. Oh, I've always loved that. The front of the M3 almost looks wider than the back. Like the flares are quite a bit more protrudy than the back. So
No, I mean, you put this next to a 335i, it's night and day.
Yeah.
You could see it. And then, M5, V10, huge.
Yeah.
And manual transmission only was available ever in North America.
Yeah, I've heard that some people call this the BMW M3, the best M5 ever. Just because V8, like manual.
Yeah.
And so but it is huge. Like the M5 it's massive.
It's really big. I mean, I'd love to have an E39 M5 next to the E92 M3 just right after you saying that.
Yeah.
Because this feels, without having an E39 here, bigger than an E39 M5.
But although the E60 M5 looks big, I feel like the new M3, the G80 M3, is the same size or even bigger than this, which is crazy.
And I love that we're doing this too, I just realized, because now they just announced the new M5. We know what the new M5 is, and it's like 800 pounds more than the previous version. So it's kind of made these cars age well. Like this is a lot heavier than that, but they're still kind of relatively light in comparison to the new stuff.
Yeah, true. That I haven't driven this yet, but I've driven the E90 M3, and that is still, even after driving all of the old or new M3s, it's still my favorite M3 that I've driven. So we're gonna see how this stacks up, because I have heard literally amazing things about this car.
That's what this is all about. We'll get into it. Neither of these are completely stock, but they're close. And I mean, this is as even as an even competition gets between NA manual M cars. Which one should we drive first?
I think just for, I don't know, you've driven an M3 before, right? Like
yeah,
E90?
but DCT, and it was like 7 years ago. So
let's start with that, and then we can go up to the big brother, because I want to save it. I think the V10 we should save it for last.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, it's the cherry on top. Let's go.
So does this feel like a traditional rubbery BMW shifter?
That's exactly the word I was looking for. Rubbery. He did just say it has a short shifter, which definitely helps a little bit. All right, full throttle.
Like, you expect to shift. Like, I would have been like, oh, shift, but there's still so much more to go.
Well, and the thing about this, if we want to just dive into the potential downsides, people's complaints about this car is that it only has 295 pound-feet of torque.
Oh, and yeah, you could definitely feel that. Like, you need to rev it out to the top end to get the most out of the power, too.
Yeah. The throttle response is amazing, and I still get the feeling that, like, oh, I can pass someone at a moment's notice.
It doesn't feel like it's lacking at all in the torque.
I don't feel like I'm shifting as much as I want to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like because...
Like the gearing?
Yeah, I think it could do with some shorter gearing. I mean, let's go just second gear, and we'll go for a bit here. Waiting.
Yeah, it's tall.
7,
it's tall.
8, 84.
Yeah.
And then I can't even get to the top of third without breaking all speed limits.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Porsche GT4. I reviewed one a while back, but that was one thing, is like you're in, first and second gear for the most of it. It's just so tall.
But the shifter, I think it's improved over like a factory kind of BMW sloppiness, but it feels like a car that you can't just romp on. You kind of have to finesse the shifts, and
those downshifts are so good. I'm surprised with how planted this thing is.
It feels nice.
For everything, like it's just so flat.
I hit the M button on the steering wheel.
Yeah, you can definitely feel, it feels a little bit stiffer.
Elvis is right. The ride still has the factory EDC, or electronic damping control, but this one's been upgraded with new Bilstein dampers that connect to the factory system. Super cool. So there's no compromise from, a subpar coilover setup. It's planted, it's fresh, and as close to OEM Plus as you can get. Stiff, yes, but still holding on to its grand touring tendencies, a simple byproduct of displacement, size, and weight. If you told me this car had been around the globe 7.5 times, there's no way I would believe you. But it's true, 300,000 kilometers on the clock, and of course that includes the infamous rod bearing replacement. You could just as easily buy a lemon though. And that fear of a potential catastrophe is clearly keeping higher mileage examples like this one a steal compared to the other gems in the M catalog. Well, and these, that guy was
that guy was like literally in our lane. Oh my
wow. Frightening.
Yeah.
If you buy a $30,000 car and then your engine blows and you have to drop $30,000 for the engine and the labor, you're ruined. Then it's not worth it.
And even the autos, like the SMGs, I don't know how reliable those would be compared to the other M3s.
It's a DCT.
Oh, it's not. No, sorry. The SMG was only the V10.
Yeah, the
this
M5.
got a DCT.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's also a really good point. If you don't get the manual, the transmission in this car is going to be way better than the M5.
Yeah. Because I've driven. Again, you've also driven a DCT, but it feels quick to shift. Like it's fast.
It's good.
I didn't think it needed any more.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip like 2 more corners and then we can switch.
Sounds so good.
They're about 3,600 pounds.
Wow, the grip.
Getting to rev this engine out is phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
Oh yeah.
You definitely feel the rubbing a little bit coming from the back, but
a little bit of rubbing.
the handling.
It's nice, man. It's pretty planted.
Yeah.
The steering's nice though. It doesn't have that new BMW like artificial kind of. It doesn't feel like the weight of the steering is artificial.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Like they're engineering it in because the new ones are electric power steering.
Yes.
So.
I feel like the seat is another small criticism.
Oh.
Like a little too high.
Oh.
Do you feel
like you do almost feel like you're riding on top of the car.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably not gonna cook it as much as you.
No, fair enough. That's fine. To me, it's the throttle response. Like
it's so immediate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just having instantaneous torque.
Yeah, you have to rev it out. Whew.
No, you get to rev it out.
Yeah, that's true. You do get to, literally, that was only 5,000 RPM.
Yeah.
I just feel like it feels wrong to be able to rev it out.
It does. Your gut tells you to shift at 7.
You have to shift.
Yeah.
And then there's still more left to go.
It is, you know what? I'm surprised this feels more like an Autobahn car than I would have thought. Like the M5, through and through, DNA, that's an Autobahn car, like high speed.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more tossable, but the engine and the gearing, it still has that, like, just high speed GT.
So good, yeah.
How do you like the shifter overall? The shifter feel?
It does feel rubbery, yeah. Like you still get that shifter, feel, which I'm like, But again, it's still a manual. At the tail of it, or in the summary, it's still a manual transmission.
Yeah.
Which I would take any day, regardless of how rubbery it is, over the automatic. Like. Oh, sorry. This came off. This came off.
Oh my god.
I was like, what is that?
Bro.
Oh my gosh.
Just hucking
I know, right?
Oh god. Okay, I guess you need that. Sorry.
I know. I was like, wait, why does that feel weird?
It doesn't look broken.
No. I think it just unscrewed or something. Oh, that's funny.
Finesse.
I
this
know.
is what I was saying. It requires a little bit of kind of finesse.
Gosh.
To shift. But like to me, the power bands, it's nice because it continuously grows and
it
grows.
Just builds and keeps building. That's what I like about it too. It's like it doesn't feel like it's dying off whenever you're getting to like 6,000 or 7,000 RPM.
No.
It's pretty cool.
It's like the opposite. The new M cars with the turbo engines, they almost encourage you to short shift.
Yes.
Because the mid-range is where you want to be versus this. You're not going to get, if you come to an E92 expecting to get the torque and the power of a new car, you're just not going to get it. That's not why you buy this car.
And yeah, that torque range it would have seemed kind of disappointing, and maybe it's not the torque range that I'm like, or the torque numbers that it's just the gearing. Like, I wish you would put a shorter, a shorter gear in, like, just so it's like you can actually rev it out. Gosh, I love the sound of this motor. What is your favorite thing about this car? Oh, rubbing a little bit so far.
It's the engine, and it doesn't feel big.
Yeah.
To me, it feels big in comparison. Yeah, E46 M3 is going to feel smaller, but compared to modern stuff specifically, it feels like you can kind of throw it around. You can toss it around, and it has that.
Oh.
It's just the downshifts are lovely.
But also there's torque. Look, third gear, we're at 4,000 RPM.
Whoa.
Like, you still feel the kick. So there is still torque, even if it's not a lot of torque, but you can still, it's enough. Yeah,
even at like 3,000 RPM. I believe peak torque is around 4,000, right where you were. It's just, it's so nice to have an NA car.
Yes, it's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
Oh. The throttle response is literally immediate. Like, look at that.
This is a car I would love to power slide.
That's not a cop. Okay.
No.
Yes, like to power slide?
Exactly. The M5, I don't feel like I need to do that. Even there, I kind of felt you could feel the tires
you can
giving out a little bit.
Yeah, this is a fun car, man.
It's a really fun car.
Again, the size is just the perfect sweet spot.
Yeah. What is an M3? What defines an M3? Like, what makes an M3 an M3?
Oh, dang, you just put me on the spot there.
Yeah. For me, that's a tough question to answer.
That is a tough question. I would say just a sedan, a small sedan.
Yeah.
Usually high revving engine.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
That's agreed. I think just a chuckable small sedan that you can daily. But when you do get to rev it out, like, to me, an M3 has to be rewarding when you're not daily commuting.
Yeah.
Like, when you're on the back road, it needs to give you something back, and I feel like the new M3s don't do that as well as these cars do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. But that, like, we're getting old. That could just be me.
Yeah, true. We're just getting old.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, which is crazy to think.
All right, M5 time. Okay guys, E60 M5. This one is a Canadian car. The M3 was a US car.
Yeah.
This is a base model, base spec Canadian car that has been swapped. It's been manual swapped.
It's pretty interesting because you can see the paddles still.
Oh yeah. No, Elvis, this is for regen braking.
Oh, I see. EV. First thing I noticed is there's no check engine lights.
Yeah.
Because you would think being a swapped car,
Yes.
like you're gonna see like something, but everything looks factory here. I mean, I guess they didn't make this with factory, so.
This has more rubber than the M3. You really notice like that E92 definitely has a short shifter.
Yes.
It feels nicer than factory.
So this doesn't have the short shifter in it.
Correct. And this is the factory E92 M3 transmission.
Yes. What is life? What?
The V10.
Why did BMW stop making this engine?
I don't know. It's just one
What
and done.
the actual heck?
I do want to meet the people who were not the bean counters at this stage in the game.
Yes.
Who pushed to get
That were
these
actually
cars out.
enthusiasts?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. And I thought the V8 sounded amazing.
They feel identical in power.
Really?
And torque. They feel
even in torque too? Yeah. This almost
maybe a little bit more. This
yeah.
This has a little bit more grunt.
It is interesting because the sizes are so different. Like that, so the weight probably accounts for honestly the power, like power to weight
difference.
ratios are probably pretty similar.
Well, the M3 weighs about 3,600 pounds. This is about 4,100.
Yeah.
So like, you add 500 pounds to a car, and this makes, well, from the factory, 500 horsepower, and I believe just about 400 pound-feet. So it's like 100 more horsepower than the M3.
Yeah. Oh wow, you can instantly feel that it is bigger.
It's larger,
Yeah.
way less steering feel.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of boosting going on with the steering, but it's still got some decent feel. It's not quite there though.
Gosh, it's wild how similar this sounds to a 5-liter V10 Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
at high RPMs, like you can barely tell the difference. From in here, it sounds kind of muted actually. From the outside, it
sounds way louder.
So loud. I think this has factory dampers too, so it's like
Yes.
it's not as bouncy
It's
as
not
the
as
M3.
jarring.
Yeah, so it feels very comfortable.
It does actually. Like it's stiff, but
A little bit stiff. Yeah.
it's
But
not jarring. You could still kind of take this on a road trip.
Okay,
Okay,
let us hear the sounds of
Here we
gloriousness.
go. Wow. It really picks up.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Okay, so there's no way you're getting this sound from a stock M5. Sorry to crush your illusion, but this one's got Infinity Design intakes and a tune combined with the Eisenman Race muffler and a Rogue Engineering X-Pipe. Oh, and Redline's been bumped from 8,250 to 8,700 RPM. Keeping the car composed is a Dyne and Roll control kit, taking as much of that curb weight off your mind as possible in the corners. I'd be lying if I said it's still not an uphill battle keeping this thing in check. The iBox springs help too, and despite the tired OEM dampers, it takes bumps and corners really well. A little more confidence than factory, but it's still more at home flying across the desert than it is eager to chase your buddy's E36 down some chain of blind corners on the edge of a cliff. Wow.
It feels like the E92 M3 turned up to like 1.5.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just
It's not
pulls.
2, it's not double.
No.
And it's a little bit less eager down low. Like the throttle, it's you still have that instantaneous torque, obviously, NA torque, but it doesn't want to like jump out of its skin,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh my goodness.
Well, that was not the greatest downshift, but
So it still sounds amazing.
if the E92 M3 required finesse, this requires like an even greater level
Really?
of finesse. I think if the V8 was uncorked, I might rather listen to the
No,
V8.
man,
No?
come on.
All
No,
right.
really?
This is where we're gonna
Really?
butt
You
heads.
prefer the way the V8 sounds?
If the V8 was uncorked, I think I don't know.
Like it almost sounds more screamy.
Yeah, exactly. This actually for a V10 especially has like a growl.
Yeah, it's like it is a growl. That's a perfect description.
You have to be smoother with it. It's just a little bit more lethargic and Autobahn-esque, but like still heel towing, shifting. It's an easy car to drive.
Yeah.
Steering's a little bit lighter.
Is the gearing in this worse or better than the M3?
Feels the same.
Yeah, it's still pretty tall. But that's understandable because this was supposed to do, what, 200 miles per hour?
Yes.
So,
I mean, to hit top of third gear, it's like a Corvette or a Viper. To hit top of third gear on a public road, you're going at a
instantly
ridiculous
jail.
speed. Literally jail time.
Instantly jail.
They're taking your car.
Yeah.
So you don't get to play around as much, but, you know, it's a GT car. It's an M5.
I know.
All right.
It's the ultimate GT car.
Should we switch?
Yeah.
I would do as much as I possibly could to fix this shifter. Because out of the
Make
box.
it a short throw, maybe?
Yeah.
I would like to dissect this shifter to see what it's like.
I think some of them just are not fixable. I think if you're not buying a Porsche or a Honda, you can't expect to have an amazing shifter.
That's true. Honda shifters are the best.
They are good.
I mean, even in here, it looks huge compared to the M3.
Yeah, I'm very far away from you.
Yeah. This has a more, just instantly driving this has a more linear feel, honestly, to me. It feels like it's building even more, like, literally, linearly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
At the top end, that's where I feel the power difference.
Yeah.
Really, is at the top end of this versus the V8.
Yeah, I do not feel as confident throwing it into a corner as the E92 M3.
It's really like you have to smooth in, set, like feel the car loading the suspension and kind of just
a lot more precision.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you have a mid-corner correction, it's probably not going to end well, you know.
Yeah, I know. This wheel feels like I'm steering a cruise liner. It's huge. Oh my gosh.
I love though that like just downshifting, I'm feeling like the vibrations of the engine through the seat, through the floor.
You should not. Cool it, relax. I feel like I would get behind shorter gears.
Yeah.
Like I want to enjoy it without going to jail.
I think the E is generally a good way to have fun in the car.
Sorry, what do you say about the E?
I think the E92 needs the shorter gears more than this does.
Yeah.
Just because of like what you kind of use this car for.
This one just feels like a cruiser. Like I don't need to, like I could freaking put this in what? Let me see.
Yeah.
6th gear.
2,000 RPM.
Just chilling.
Yeah. It drones a little bit when you get on it, but it's not bad.
Yeah, no, this is not terrible.
No, it's not bad at all.
People are gonna think I'm insane. Imagine putting the V10 from this in the M3.
In conclusion, you guys, like you already know, we'll never see another naturally aspirated M car. I don't think so, unless they make some special edition or.
Yeah. Sadly, we can do the conclusion later, but these are the best M cars. This is just a me thing. People are gonna disagree with me.
Yeah, the only other one that really, to me, I haven't driven an E30 M3, but an E46 M3 to me might be the ultimate M car.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see how much better these things could get. Like this is perfection.
I just want to drive an E39 M5 because I have a feeling it would be like the E92, but just lower to the ground, smaller. All right, V10, V8. If you were to find an example of each of these cars that were for sale for the exact same price, let's say $40,000 USD. Both stick, the exact spec that we have now, which do you take?
That is the hardest thing.
It's so easy. It's the M3.
I don't know. The V10 is so good. Like that is my favorite thing about this car is the V10.
Yeah.
If for dynamically, I would pick the M3 any day.
Yeah.
But the fact that this engine exists, V10, high revving, 8,700 RPM, manual transmission, 500 horsepower, like that is amazing. But you're right, dynamically, I would pick the M3, the E92 M3.
We have kind of a winner, I guess, overall.
Sadly.
But in a perfect world, Elvis is going to take this V10 and swap it into
the M3. That would be, if someone has done it before, let us know. I would love to see what that feels like.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, yeah.
All right, you guys. Yeah, go subscribe and follow Elvis. All the links are in the description. Thank you, Jake, for bringing the cars out.
Yes.
So much
I cannot
fun.
believe he owns these two. Like, imagine owning these two cars.
Yeah.
What? That's amazing.
You need someone to drive them for him. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon.
Yes.